So, dear viewers, audience, researcher, students, academician, media partner from home and abroad, now we will have Mr. Muhammad Amin with us. So let me take the opportunity to read the bio of Mr. Alamin. Mr. Muhammad Alamin is the general manager of Six Seasons Hotel Dhaka, Bangladesh, and he will be talking to us on the topic of post-pandemic service dimension and change in the customer preference, a special reference from hotel sector. Mr. Alamin is a prominent hotelier of Bangladesh hospitality industry. He holds vast experience in several areas. Currently, Mr. Amin is serving Six Season Hotels as a general manager. Before to this position, he served the Westin Dhaka, a Marriott International, for almost 5 years as a director of sales and marketing and other specific role. Mr. Amin had also served Taipei, a multinational company in Bangladesh, as a head of sales and operations for more than 2 years. Before working as a sales executive at Pan Pacific Dhaka from 2008 to 2010, Mr. Amin worked at Grameenphone Limited as a priority account manager. Besides having tremendous professional experience in the hospitality industry, Mr. Amin is also a graduate in tourism and hospitality management from University of Dhaka. It is our immense pleasure to have you on board and at our virtual platform. Mr. Amin, please.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf, for this wonderful introduction. I would like to thank IUBAT for organizing such a beautiful e-Symposium. It's perhaps a unique approach to be able to discuss about this corona pandemic on our industry and probably the future. I would like to also thank Professor Abdul Rauf, the Vice Chancellor of IUBAT, for inviting me to this e-Symposium. So my topic is basically the impact of corona pandemic on our industry, and also how it will create an impact on the customer preference and our service dimension. So we would probably see a different dimension post-pandemic, and whatever I am going to basically do, most likely is going to be a prediction, because as of now, I mean, we cannot give or probably predict anything conclusive, because every single day, I think the scenario is changing, and we're getting different informations. We're seeing different dimensions, and we are not sure when we'll overcome from this disaster. So I'll start with Mr. Yusuf, can I also share my screen? If
Please, please.
Okay, I'll start with a quote that in the last UNWTO executive conference, which held in last month, where the Director General said, working together to build a tourism sector that works for everyone, where sustainability and innovation are part of everything that we do. So what he actually mentioned that probably the way forward is we should look at sustainability in our tourism sector and also innovation. As I was just part of the session that Dr. Chihan was sharing, I think he has also covered a lot of about digitalization of this industry. In my session, I'll also talk about it a little bit. So if I can share my screen, just give me 1 second. Mr. Yusuf, can you see?
Yes, I can see your screen. The PowerPoint is not visible yet.
In my screen, it says you are sharing the screen.
Okay, so probably it will take a bit time. The screen is sharing, but it just the PowerPoint is not visible. I think you will have to click the PowerPoint once again. It's not open from our side. Yes. Yes, we can see that.
We can see it now?
Yes.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. We should explore the domestic and regional market. Obviously, this is a new window. I mean, it is quite visible for all of us. I mean, as of today, we probably didn't focus on this sector much, but this pandemic has taught us. This probably a sector that was not nurtured properly, and there's a lot of potentiality in it. And third prediction that, I mean, this figures is to some extent I also agree with this, but these are taken from different sources. Lot of research institute, they're looking are thinking that economic class will be flattened before the luxury section. I mean, it means before the five-star or the luxury segment, if you look at the hotel sector only, maybe the boutique hotel, or maybe select service hotels, or maybe hotel sharing accommodation like Airbnb, they will flourish better than the luxury segment. The reason being, when we have a pandemic going for more than 2 years or even more, it's not only the hotel sector, every single sector is actually dent, and there will be a cost management approach post pandemic. So obviously, first thing a lot of companies will do, they will cut cost on travel, or like as far as the tourism and hospitality is concerned. Probably our foreign missions have a very important role to play. I mean, they have done fairly good job, but in future I think they will be a very important player in this sector also. I have a specific slide for this particular point. I will come forward. So why this no vacancy thing happened? Because I mean, if you know the hotel industry, how it works, there's a thing called RevPAR, which is revenue per available room. I mean, as of today, I mean, the statistics says in the luxury segment, the revenue per room degrowth by 53%, and it will go near to pre-crisis situation, let's say in 2019, by 2022. So it means, I mean, it's a long way that we have to pass with this kind of situation. And by the end of 2023, I think overall degrowth and revenue per room will be 26%. It means there is a big gap in the revenue forecast of the investors or the hotel owners or the operators. I mean, the only way to manage it, I mean, they will probably have to limit their cost. And when you when you operate a full service hotel or a luxury hotel, there are a few fixed costs that you cannot manage. That's mandatory if you keep a hotel in operation. So, I mean, obviously, I mean, there are a few areas where they will look at, and one of the area can be layoff of their employees. So we'll go to the next slide. I mean, the revenue scenario in this year, if you look at in April, it was 86% degrowth. In May, it was minus 75%. And gradually it is growing, but by end of this year also, it will be minus 35%. We do not have a figure for next year, but I mean, we personally believe, or I personally believe, that unless we have a proper vaccine, the situation is not going to be as normal as it was in 2019. So looks like we will have to find alternate options as our career. So this is a scenario that McKinsey has done. I mean, if you look at this, this is going to be probably the situation that we are going to manage, where virus contained and growth return. I mean, we are being optimistic. We're thinking that virus will be contained by, let's say, end of Q2, 2021, and the growth return. I mean, even if we do that, the curve is going to be like this. So it's not going to be a flat curve. So it's going to be a U curve. So which will be difficult for the industry to manage. This is again the thing that I said is the rep per situation. I mean, this is the rep per situation in 2019, and again we are predicting to be in the same situation in 2022. 23. So this entire three areas, the curve is going to only upward. And obviously these are global prediction. Country to country, it may vary due to the situation. And we kind of presume that in our country, the situation will be something like this. So in the first slide that the Director General of UNWTO mentioned that we must focus on sustainable tourism. I mean, obviously this year, I think, I mean, the World Tourism Day there, and their highlight was also domestic tourism. So, I mean, this is probably the time when we should all look at that what, excuse me, what do we have? I mean, what is our strength? What is our culture? What is our, socio-culture authenticity? I mean, what is our natural resources? And utilize all those and maybe leverage those strengths. And not necessarily, I mean, when as a country, I mean, we may not be able to portray the cosmopolitan facilities to the world. But whatever we have, I mean, if we can package it properly and if you can market it to the world, I mean, I can see a good, a positive vibe in it. And obviously, from the country perspective, the authority and the concerned ministry has to play a very important role. So this is a post-pandemic scenario. I mean, financial leadership will be very, very important. I mean, if I can define how I meant by financial leadership, basically the finance guy of an organization will play a very, very important role. It because, I mean, if you do not make revenue, I mean, at least you have to manage the cost. So, I mean, as I said, like, the cost management will be a very, very important role. Because, I mean, if you look at the bottom line and the top line, uh, I mean, obviously, for the owner's perspective, bottom lines were always important. And this financial leadership is going to be a role which will play a very, very, significant mark in this industry for at least for next 2 years. And obviously, I mean, government has a very important role here. I mean, as of now, I think we all know that our government has, declared some stimulus package where we can get some, subsidized bank loan to be run our business as it was. And obviously, that was done to actually to secure the employment of our employees. Because in our country, I think in hospitality sector, we have got more than 5 million people directly or indirectly working. And also, in backward linkage, we have a lot of other industry depending on tourism and hospitality industry, like poultry, maybe transport, and maybe dairy. All these things are very important. So financial literacy is going to be a very important, point that we must focus. And now, I think all of you understand when you run a hotel, the cost per room has increased than before because we had to implement few new stuff. Now, as I said, we our main focus is to portray the safety and hygiene environment. I mean, obviously, this thing doesn't come free, so cost per room has increased. So as a, it's a weird situation where our revenue is less, cost is high, still we have to survive. So this is a game that our finance guy, they have to play properly so that the organizations and the hotel can survive. as I mentioned, the economic diplomacy thing, which is going to be a very, very important point that we must focus on. Okay. So this point says how this economy class will be better than the luxury segment, and it will revive fast because normally a luxury hotel requires 1.5% more than to manage a economy hotel. So the small size hotel is going to be in a better situation first, and also I think they will peak better. And with this pandemic, I think the new segment is going to grow, which I mean is already there. I mean it will be more stronger. I think Airbnb or the organizations or the companies who has sharing accommodation, they will be in a better situation because I think there is a big shift in the preference of the customer also. They don't want to go into crowd, and also many of the customer they will avoid busy hotels, and they want to make their trip in their own way. So I think to be isolated, this kind of sharing accommodation will play a very important role. So this point I would request everybody to look at this slide. Other side of this pandemic is going to see profound changes in the traveling world. So first point, which is health and hygiene. I mean, probably we all agree that this is main focus now. I mean, as a hotelier, when we now request or send proposal to our customer, the first question they ask and that how safe your hotel is. And I think ever since the pandemic started, I mean our main focus was to market our safety procedures and the protocols that we have established to our customer. I mean, I think not only us, I think if you look at every hotel, starting from the big brands and whoever it is, or maybe the small brands, they have focused on this big time. And I think all of them also practice this thing on a day-to-day basis. And it is going to be a focus for the tourism industry in future. I mean, even the pandemic is gone, people kind of understood that, okay, if you want to travel, I think safety is a very, very important issue, and is going to be a focus, and is going to be a part and parcel for all hoteliers, all hotel in their operational SOPs. Point two, as I mentioned, is technology and digitalizations. That's a very, very important point. I think that's the way forward. I mean, in future, this is going to be something that we all have to live in, and we all have to accommodate. If we lag behind, I mean, being a hotelier or any organization, whoever will be late to react on this, in future is going to be very difficult for them to survive. I'll have a small slide for that, so that maybe I'll cover. And other point I mentioned, that financial leadership is going to be a very important factor. So previously, we all, especially who are into hotel business, they all know that the point RevPAR is very important for a hotel investor or an owner, but it may turn into GOP par, which was gross operating profit per room. So it means, I mean, it just not only make revenue, you also manage cost. So that term is going to be very important, and that may also, uh, you know, create a scarcity for the employment in this industry in future. So point four I mentioned is job outsourcing and multitasking. This pandemic has taught a lot of organizations and to be able to comply, and in future they may outsource a lot of jobs, because especially operational jobs, already I think Western world has adopted it. I mean, in our country it wasn't there. So in future, I mean, we may see post pandemic that a lot of jobs are outsourced. For an example, food and beverage, housekeeping, or front office management, or engineering, which are operational job where you may not need a full-time employee or permanent employee. I mean, you can do the job by an outsourcer. So we may also see that a lot of outsourcing employment company may be formed and they support different hotels. And multitasking, when I mentioned that, now I think especially the students, they must not look at one single concentration that, okay, I will be a marketeer, or I'll be a sales and marketing person, or I will be a revenue management, or I'll work in front office, or I'll work in food and beverage service. Not going to be like that. You need to be multitasking. I think if you want to survive in this industry or grow, you should be multitasking. Let's say the young guy, he should be working in food and beverage in the morning, or maybe in afternoon he can work in front office. This is how I think, I mean, you can make yourself more equipped and prepared for this industry. And then point five, I mentioned redefine contactless service. I mean, I'm sure many of us probably already acquainted with this term, that contactless service, contactless check-in or food delivery. These are going to be the terms that we're going to see in future, because people will avoid contact, because any kind of this spread of virus can happen through this contact. So I mean, in our hotel we're practicing it, and then I know for sure most of the hotels are practicing it, and that's going to be a new normal for all of us. Last point that I mentioned, that expanding the service parameters. I mean, now I think when one window is closed, we must look at what windows we can open. So I mean, in future, I mean, you will see hotels delivering food, and can be their main revenue generating wing, because it was there. I mean, it was there for last 3-4 years. I mean, you all see that company like Uber Eats or maybe Food Panda, they're operating in our country and globally, or Zomato or Swiggy, and their food delivery service. People were kind of there, but this pandemic has taught us actually how we can efficiently do it. And operate this kind of business, the companies who are operating, and they're also doing it successfully, and in future that is the way out. And obviously, I mean, today the students, I mean, I think one of the students raised a question that if we go for a lot of automation, he can see that there can be a scarcity in employment. But as Professor Chihan mentioned, obviously the new windows are going to open. So I think this is going to be one more window. So I'll cover this point in later slides. Professor Yusuf, actually it's a quite
Yes.
session happening. I'm not sure, like, nobody's there or everybody gone.
No, everyone is there. We have 100 participants at this moment. We can hear you very well.
Okay, I will request everyone to look at this slide. This slide says the customer experience mindset in the age of COVID-19. So what is customer are going through? Point one said traumatized society. So I'm sure all of us are feeling the same. This slide says 18% of the people have a family member or friend who has had a COVID-19 infection, and 5% of those has died. So I'm sure, I mean, if you have gone through this kind of situation, and if your family member is infected, or maybe somebody died, God forbid. So, I mean, what can be your state of mind? So the society is traumatized, and we are not sure that when we'll get rid of this and when we'll overcome this situation. So this traumatized situation has changed the mindset of our customers, or maybe the society. 22% people say that they are experiencing anxiety for being confined in their house. I'm sure students also, they are feeling the same. I mean, you are not comfortable wearing a mask 24/7. You're not comfortable staying at your home every single day. I mean, this is not a normal norm for us. We're not comfortable in this kind of situation, but still, just for the sake of, you know, our life, we are doing it. But how long? So this thing will create anxiety in the society, and this anxiety will change the mindset of the people. And when the mindset change, obviously that will have an impact on their buying behavior, on their service preference. So point two says consumer trust. If you look at consumer trust, 71% say if they perceive that the brand is putting profit over people, they will lose trust in the brand forever. So, I mean, as an organization, I mean, when nowadays I think social media is so important, and if you do anything which is non-comply with the labor laws or illegitimate, I mean, obviously this thing will flash out. I mean, if that flash out, I mean, your consumer, your guest may lose trust on your brand. I mean, you will probably see all the big brands starting from Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt, Accor, everybody is trying to focus what they are doing for the society, what they are doing for the employees, how resilient they are today, I mean, to combat with the future. Why they are doing it? Because they want to give information or assure their customers that they are there and they are doing the business for the society, which only will help their customer to keep trust on them, and once the situation is normal they will come back. So that is very important that we believe on a product, and only then we'll go back to them. So as an organization, as a hotel, all hotel are focusing it. At least majority of them who are not focusing on it, I mean, they will face consequences in future, because I mean, obviously, a business organization will run for money, but and other hand, you also have responsibilities for your employees and also for the community. If you don't do that too, like employees and community, if you ignore, in future, you can be rest assured your consumer will ignore you. They will lose trust on you. Option three is consumer start spending, meaning now people are feeling that enough is enough. So I personally didn't do any kind of shopping in the first 5 months of the pandemic, but last 2 months I did. I'm sure it is the same for everybody. So, but they're finding a way how they can do it. I mean, we're not in a situation we cannot go to like shopping malls like before, but I mean, obviously the other options that we can do. I mean, when we have the digital thing in our life, so, I mean, mobile is something that has helped us a big time. And nowadays, people start spending money for that also. So, as an organization, you also should focus that if people are using mobile or digital devices for their purchase, I mean, should I also invest in it? If you don't invest in it, or if you're late to response, I mean, your business will not be in a good situation in future. Option four says employee expectations in the future. So 36% employees, I mean, this is a research report. I mean, from that sample size, 36% say they are comfortable working from the home. And a lot of organizations also nowadays are comfortable keeping their employees home and getting the job done. So that is a new normal that we are adopting. Like today, I mean, we are doing a e-Symposium. I mean, we may not think actually a regular symposium next year, because if we can do it properly and if the purpose is done, then I mean, information is properly escalated to the right concern. I mean, we may not go back to the regular or traditional way of a symposium. This is absolutely fine. So this culture also a lot of organizations are adopting, and this is a good part of it. For an example, I would like to share one story where one of our prominent bank in our country, I mean, many of you probably know the story already. They had a full-fledged corporate office, not a corporate office, maybe a second office, which was in Tejgaon. They used to pay 5 crore BDT per year as a rent of that building. And that bank has decided to move out of that building, which means that bank has saved 5 crore taka. As I said in the first few slides, that this financial leadership is going to be a very, very important factor for any organization, or even for any industry, and for our industry for sure. So this saving 5 crore taka, meaning you are adding 5 crore taka in your bottom line to your profit. For a financial institute, making 5 crore taka additional income or profit for a year is a big thing. So a small decision has make a good mark in their financial statement. But why they have done it? They have seen that many of their employees who were working office from home in last 6 months, and they have done fairly good job, and not necessarily they have to come back to the office again. And without them coming to office, I mean, this operation is not going to be hampered, and they are sure about it, they're 100% sure about it, and they said, okay, let's do it. So I mean, we may see this kind of this kind of impact in our industry also. A lot of roles, I mean, it can be from home. For an example, a guy who is a digital marketing person, or maybe a graphic designing person, working in a hotel. Not necessarily he has to come to home every day, or maybe a finance guy who does analytics, or maybe who a revenue management guy who give reports, or maybe does an analytical job. Not necessarily he has to come to office every day, and if he had to discuss something, obviously this digital forms are there. So so now the students are thinking that, then I mean, if I want to be a revenue manager, I mean, you might have to prepare your mind that, okay, I may not have to go to the office again. I mean, I can do work from home, and today and tomorrow you'll see the companies and the hotels will adopt the same culture also. I mean, in the circular, you'll not be surprised if you see that this is going to be a home office position. So that's absolutely fine. I mean, this is going to be a new culture. And the point five is tech. So this technology, this digitalization, digital transformation, this is going to be the focus. And some of the companies, obviously, they have leveraged this pandemic, and they have converted this challenges into opportunities. For an example, company like Netflix, Amazon, or maybe Walmart, they have actually find a way how to do business. I mean, accommodating this pandemic, and I mean, honestly, they are actually hiring more people nowadays. So we'll have to look for those options also. I mean, where we can accommodate ourselves. And point seven says new appreciation for normal life. So whatever the life is going to be post, I mean, we'll have post pandemic. I think we'll have to be happy about it, and we'll have to accept the new normals, and that's the best way to move forward. So, I mean, whatever I said, I think this slide also covers that as an organization, you must focus on care and concern. You have to care for your employees. You have to care for your guest or customers. If the customer feels you're not caring for him, or your guest, your employee feels that he's not caring for him, your company is not going to see the good time again. Okay. Then, I mean, the point two says meet your customers where they are. I mean, now the new normal is like you have to go to the customer. It's not that the customer will come to you. So I'm sure you know how to do it. I mean, this is basically the digital transformation. So, I mean, all this food delivery and the digital marketing and this contactless contactless service, all this thing we have to accommodate in our culture, in our industry, and that's probably the way forward. And option three says reimagine the post COVID world, as I said already, and be agile capabilities to found to fluid times. So that's a point. I mean, obviously, it only means that you need to be agile, and you need to accommodate every changes, and you need to change yourself with the time. From the hotel perspective, I mean, what a guest would probably expect, or maybe what would be his or her preference. That's safety first, you know, then expand the standardization. Obviously, you have to market in a way that you are assuring your guest he is 100% safe and secure. Automated check-in. That's, I mean, a lot of hotels have adopted this culture already, but I'm there. Post-pandemic is going to be a common thing in all hotels. Stay in touch. That's basically, as Professor Chihan also mentioned that. Hospital is something it cannot be 100% automated. I mean, obviously, the personal touch, the personal service, that's our strength, that's our core value, and that we'll have to work out a way that so that your customer feels that okay, he is in touch with you. They need to be flexible in terms like now people are also not sure like will they be able to get on board, or maybe will they be able to fly. So if you put a lot of conditions that, when a guest book a room, I think that's going to be unfair. So you need to be a little flexible. So this is an important point that I think I wanted to cover. So this post-pandemic hotel operations, how technology helps deliver contactless hospitality with the lean staff. So these are the new technology that we probably see. So first thing it says mobile check-in. I mean, a few hotels, like few Marriott hotels, already had that option that you can actually check in through mobile. So you don't go to your reception and you check in. So you don't need to talk to the receptionist. I mean, now the e-payment is there, so you can pay through your mobile, you can check in through your mobile, you stay there, you order through your mobile. I mean, and you check out. So that's absolutely fine. Option two is cashless transaction. As I said, I mean, I'm sure many of you probably already know with this term. I mean, people start using cash, and they used to use credit card, but nowadays I think they're coming out of credit card also. So there's mostly e-payment. You can pay through your mobile. You can pay through QR code. You can pay through e-commerce. So those things are pretty much, I think, common in all hotels nowadays. Then you have contactless food delivery. That is probably you have seen a lot of advertising nowadays. I mean, especially the food delivery companies, rider-based food delivery companies, they have adopted this culture, and this is going to be a normal for the rest of the life. Option four, which is very important. I mean, this is going to be advanced technological transformation in our hotel industry, and you will probably see it in future. For an example, artificial intelligence, hologram, virtual reality, augmented reality. I mean, many of you who are kind of tech friendly already know all this term and what it means, but this is going to be something that we'll see in future in all hotels. I mean, small scale or big scale or whatever, but they will say it. You'll probably see robots in a lot of hotels. You'll not be amazed that if you go to a restaurant, a robot is serving food, which is very safe for you. And if the robot can do the job of an employee or wait staff, why not? Digital sales and marketing approach. That's going to be the only way out in moving forward. I mean, 10 years back, if you look at what was the culture in our country, the country culture was you were stuck in traffic jam, you're looking at the billboard. So all the big companies like Phone or Bangladesh, they used to invest in billboards. I mean, if today the same you, I mean, stuck in traffic, you don't go look outside, you will probably look at your phone. And that's why they're also investing in your phone. So digital marketing is going to be the only way out. Many of you probably see that, okay, one day you have checked for a hotel in Thailand. I mean, suddenly you will probably get into your Facebook and some other Thailand hotel is promoting or popping up in your phone, and you probably ask yourself why this thing happened. These are technologies, the algorithms, their investment that you can do in Google marketing or SEM or SEO. I mean, these are the new marketing approach. I mean, we have to come out of the traditional marketing approach if you want to grow in hospitality industry, especially in restaurant business. You will understand, I know you have felt it, I think you have felt it, that digital marketing is the only way out. Face recognition and voice modulation, that is probably also a new technology you'll probably see. I mean, this is part of artificial intelligence anyway. I mean, it means, I mean, when you go to a restaurant or maybe a hotel, for example, your name is Yusuf, and from the cloud, this through this artificial intelligence, the hotel system will know that your name is Yusuf. So next time when you go to that hotel again, they will treat you probably with your name. And these are feel-good factors, and also this will obviously omit or maybe exclude a lot of human interaction. And in future, that's probably something you have to adopt. So I can see a risk that a lot of people may lose job, but there are a lot of windows also opening. So you'll have to prepare yourself so that you accommodate to the new requirements. So this is a statistics or a report from US market. If you have 37% of the traveler is using digital channels. This is I mean, McKinsey has declare, or maybe they come up with the proposal that this is how a hotel can operate the digital version of it. For an example, safe a meter plan. And when you come in, everything is digital basically, from a hotel entry, how we do the sanitization, and maybe a robot using UV cleaning for your transport, and tech-free end-to-end journey. So basically, what they are focusing on, like end-to-end journey, but lesser amount of human interaction, and some new windows. So I think some of us has felt that if I have to get a job in a hotel, I mean, I was probably preparing myself that, that I will be a front office person. But if now guest check in through mobile, though you don't have a job, but you probably should look at this 4 or 5 options, where there will be a lot of opportunities, there will be a lot of jobs, and you just have to make yourself prepare for it. For example, if you look at this guy, he's basically the hygiene manager of a hotel, or maybe a doctor. This was not mandatory, employment for any hotel industry. It was optional. Few hotel had it, few hotel did not. But in future, I think this is going to be a mandatory position. So many of you who are doing a hospitality undergraduation, maybe you should get some expertise in food hygiene or hospitality hygiene, how we can do it. Digital marketing, I think this is a big industry, and you should look at digital marketing. Includes maybe content writing, maybe software development, maybe graphic designing, maybe SEM, SEO, all this kind of stuff. And delivery service, as you said. This is a housekeeping thing. Housekeeping was limited in all hotels. They used to only clean their hotels, or maybe the public areas and the rooms. But nowadays, I think, as in one point I mentioned, that we have to expand your hospitality service, and you need to go to the customer also. So this can be extending view of any hotel, where they can actually offer the same service to the customer's premises. So obviously, if they want to do it, I mean, they will need more people. So you need to focus on this wing of a hotel also, that can create a lot of employment. So when you point, I mean, if you look at the this is basically a tourist guide. So when we focus on domestic tourism, or maybe sustainable tourism, I mean, we may need a lot of tourist guides. So maybe some of you should focus on this line also. This is basically, there will be a change in the food consumption pattern of the people after the pandemic. I mean, obviously, I mean, in last 3 months, we have learned a lot of terms, like, we were never bothered about what is vitamin D or E. I mean, how we can boost our immunity. But these terms are going to be the integral part of our lives. So organic food can be something that we should focus, and that can be a part of your learning also. You need to know how to prepare organic food, or maybe how to harvest or cultivate organic food, and then maybe organic food restaurant. So a lot of options. Then this, with this picture, I actually meant multitasking, so that you can do a lot of stuff. I mean, it's not that you can only work in front office. You should be able to also work in other departments. You should be flexible. And this is basically the domestic, and the last point I mentioned, that how we can develop domestic tourism. So domestic tourism is something that we should focus. I mean, as a country, we have a lot of strength, a lot of something, a lot of cultural or heritage, or archaeological properties that we can actually market to the world, and we can expand it. So it was limitedly managed. Maybe it is critically important that now we should think that how we can leverage on our domestic tourism, not only to the local people, and also to the international market. So these are like few slides that I thought I should share with you guys. And obviously, hotel, we'll see. I mean, these are obviously all product predictions, but um, but these are like critically predicted. So looks like this is going to be the future for next at least the next 5 years or so. There are so many things that we are actually getting acquainted, and we'll also carry this habit for a long, even though the situation is normal. For an example, this Zoom meetings, I mean, we never knew 6 months before that this Zoom thing can be actually effectively used, but nowadays we're doing it every day. So I mean, when you do a lot of Zoom meetings, it only will create a limitation in the real meeting in our banquet halls. So as a hotelier, that's a negative thing for us. But I mean, we'll probably have to work out or find out ways how we can um, leverage the digital font of the world and make revenue out of it. So I think I have covered what I was supposed to say or what I planned to say. Mr. Yusuf, I mean, maybe am I running out of time or?
Uh, yes, we have 10 minutes for you with the question and answering sessions.
Okay, okay.
So if you have finished, then we'll move to the question and answering.
So I kind of finished my discussion, what I was thinking that I should share with the students. So I mean, with last note, I would finish. Maybe I would request all the students, especially participating here. I think you're lucky that you are belong to an institute which actually has thought of a mini symposium like this. And I mean, I think you should not participate in this kind of symposium just for your teacher has said it to say you to participate. You probably should do it because they should be learning from this e-Symposium. I'm sure there are a lot of high-profile academicians who are participating in this symposium, and they are sharing their insight, which are, valuable. And if we can take those in our life, and I'm sure, you can actually get something out of it. So take it seriously, and this new normal is going to be really new. So you need to come out of your orthodox mindset that traditionally what you have seen as of now, that this is how or this is what a tourism industry look like or hotel operation look like. Just come out of that thing. You need to just don't have any baggage in your mind. You need to have a fresh mind, and you need to make yourself so flexible so that whatever is new you adopt it. And adopting culture is the only way that you can survive in corporate life. So I think with this note I will finish, and I would again like to thank IUBAT for inviting me in this session, and Mr. Yusuf especially, and also the other teachers and the faculty members, or maybe the students who were involved in this session. Thank you, Mr. Yusuf.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amin. To begin with the question and answering session, we have 7 minutes time to finish up with this session. Before that, I would like to request Dr. Aziz to remark.
Yusuf.
Yes, sir.
Yusuf.
Yes, sir.
Has Alamin completed his presentation?
Yes, sir.
So I'd like to have a couple of words.
Yes, sir, please.
Before you ask questions. Okay?
Yes, sir, please.
All right. Well, I'm from mobile phone. There's a little bit of here. Thank you, Mr. Alamin.
Thank you, sir.
An excellent presentation. I expected certain special aspects, and then I am very happy that you have covered some of them. The technology is certainly gaining more importance than before. And as you said that jobs, some will be lost, there will be more jobs. And they will be more in the area of IT and so on. The issue is that this hospitality and tourism, they basically are social interactions, not just a contact over internet and so on. So as long as people expect that human interaction is an essential part of the entertainment, people will still expect this kind of service from people. However, the safety issue is also there. Until this COVID pandemic goes out, at least for that period, there will be more of these IT-based innovations for the safety of the clients. So, as you said, that's very correctly said, that more job opportunities are coming up in the area of this IT. So our hotel management institutes have to consider this thing and incorporate them into their curriculum. However, what I would say, lot of innovations are necessary, and that has to come from both the industry and the academics. Some of these perhaps would be based on research, but that needs to be carried out in the industry to see their applicability. On the other hand, the industry people will innovate their own way of handling the problems, and that needs to be learned by our students. So compared to the past, I would say there is a more need for close interaction between industry and academia. So, Mr. Alamin, these are my comments. But then what I would say that the hotel industry should be coping up with the crisis that has come up. And then as the attitude of the people change, I think there will be also greater opportunities. Thank you so much for enlightening us. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chancellor. I would like to request Dr. Sultanul Aziz to add some remark on the presentation.
Thank you very much. This has been an excellent presentation. I myself learned a lot, and I often try to bring my personal experiences into these presentations. I was very happy he dealt very much with the economy diplomacy on this market. It's everyone, the government, the private industries, embassies, everywhere. Not only just economists have to be involved, and he dealt it in a very nice way. And he also mentioned about the sustainable tourism, that to make it sustainable, it's not like before. Like as our Vice Chancellor has just mentioned, several points, we have to all look into those things. Health and hygiene was a focus of his presentation, of which I am personally involved in many different ways. So I thank him for that. The post-pandemic customer preferences is going to be a very big thing. It's already changed, and we see it in the United States. Even though I'm stuck in my house, connected with the internet only, if I go out, it's a risk for any reason at all. And I also mentioned yesterday, after the China presentation, I praised the tourism, the tourist guides. I made a very high praise. I have several other interactions, and I must tell you how impressed I am. In many countries, I am thinking of Egypt. I also mentioned about other countries. And she took me out for the pyramids. Wherever I wanted to go, she did. Finally, in my interactions over the days, I found out she's a Hafiz al-Quran. Young girl, Egypt, Muslim country, her job is Hafiz al-Quran. Any question I answered her, she had the answer. Any subject. It's a scholar. This hospitality industry is very important to know that these are multidisciplinary people. Similarly, in Indonesia, I had a Hafiz Quran taking me and my family around and one of my other assignments. They have to really be very intelligent and studious people with uh, all kinds of knowledge that they can answer, and we can have mock sessions in IUBT in this subject as the time goes on. With this very long remark, I thank you very much and the speaker for an excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajesh. So we will start with the question and answering session. I would like to ask Shahriar Abid to begin with your question.
Thank you, sir. Um, this is my pleasure to ask a question to Mr. Alamin. So my question is, sir, you mentioned about the contactless hospitality system, like everything will be contactless. So the main theme in hospitality industry is the service. But if it is contactless, how about the customer satisfaction and how it will be conducted? Am I?
Okay, Sharia, I mean, I think your question is quite relevant. I mean, obviously, you should have this question in your mind, and this was basically the strength of the hospitality of our country. I mean, country like us, India, or maybe Thailand, where personalized service is our strength. But as I mentioned, that sorry, that there are some changes in the customer preference also. For an example, I mean, 2 months or like last year, let's say you went to a restaurant with your friends or family members, you probably expect the waiter to come to you and serve the food. You will allow them to your close contact. But you ask yourself today, if you go to a restaurant, you do not allow the waiter to come to you, and maybe you feel that this is not probably safe. So as long as that safety assurance is not there for the employees, I mean, this is something that we'll probably have to accommodate. But we have to find out a way how can we do it. I mean, contact lens meaning, I mean, still the person can see you and the person can feel that you are as humble as you were before. I mean, the hospitality, the invitation, the greeting, everything will be there, but you will not probably go to the close contact of that person. But it doesn't mean that you are not there. You are there, but I mean, you're creating a barrier so that he doesn't come so close to you. I mean, he get the chance of getting infection from you. If I can, clear your question.
Yes, sir. I got it. Thank you, sir.
But in future that thing will come once they are vaccinated. The world is normal. I mean, obviously you can go and shake your hands. I mean, nowadays what do? I mean, you don't go probably to the door and shake the hands. Shaking hands is not happening, but obviously we are smiling at the guests, keeping a distance. That's what we meant. We're serving the food at the door of the guest room and knocking the door, and we're calling him. That's after I knock you, you open the door after 30 seconds. So he is getting the food there. He knew there's one guy has went to his room and served the food, but he is not there because we do not want to take the risk that my guy is sick, and we can create the same infection to my guest also. You understand? So we're assuring that you are safe and you are getting a hygiene environment inside the hotel. It does not mean that you are not there. You are there.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the answer.
Thank you very much for the question and answer. I would like to ask Salma. Salma, if you can hear me, please unmute your microphone and carry on with your question.
Thank you, sir, for giving me a chance for asking a question. My question is, as pandemic situation is going on and most of the sales and marketing activities are online based, so what are the basic skills tourism and hospitality management students should have before start their internship? As I'm a student of tourism and hospitality management, so what you will suggest, sir? Can you please explain?
Sama, I will just give my personal opinion. First thing first, I mean, you need to be sure in your mind that you will be a hotelier, not a hotel sales and marketing person. From my experience, I can say that I was a sales and marketing person for 5-6 years of my early career. Later, I became a hotelier. So once I was a sales and marketing person, I was always not involved in hotel core operation, which obviously a minus point for any hotelier. So you need to be ready that whenever or whatever opportunity you get, you should adopt that. Question one. Point one. Point two is, let's say you get the opportunity in sales and marketing. I mean, obviously, when we were doing the sales and marketing, our approach was different. Our approach was going to the customer, meeting him, greeting him, giving him a gift, and talking to him, and maybe maintaining a relationship for a long time. But nowadays, I think that is probably not possible, at least now. I mean, yes, obviously, after 1 year, the situation will be normal, but now it is not possible. You cannot go to the customer because, it is unsafe. So what is the option? Option is the digital form. I mean, obviously, the relationship management is an art, so you have to adopt that. It not necessarily have to go and meet and maintain it. There are other ways of doing it, but you need to be in touch with the customer. Never lose the touch with the customer, because the hospitality management or the hotel business operates on personal relationship. A personal relationship makes a lot of difference. So how you can build a customer relationship with your customer? First thing first, you need to create a rapport with him. Option two, point two is, if you create a rapport, you need to create a promise to him, that the promise is that, okay, I will deliver the best service. If he accept your promise and send you business, you must assure that you deliver the best service. I mean, you need to keep your promise. I mean, you need to act according to your commitment. If you complete that, option point four will be, you need to follow up with that person, so that you create a personal relationship which is beyond your organization. I mean, I personally believe, as a hospitality sales and marketing person, if you have a customer, you should have that customer for the rest of your life, even if you shift the organization. You work for Westin, he will give you business. He will know that Salma is my maybe sales representative. You go to some other hotel, let's say you go to Le Méridien, the business should shift with you. So this is how you maintain the relationship. Obviously, when you maintain the relationship, you need to keep in your mind that the company who is paying you, his interest should be the first priority for you. And nowadays, I'm sure, yeah, the communication is a very important art, so that you need to adopt. For an example, you need to create a customer base in China, and you are speaking in English or Bangla, it will probably not create an impact. So you need to be flexible, as I said in the last remark of my presentation. You need to be flexible, you need to be mobile, and you need to adopt the changes. And only then you can shine in hotel industry. I think I covered your point. If you have any still question.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I understand.
Thank you very much. Sumaya Akhtar, would you like to ask your question, please? But please make sure it's a brief question.
Thank you, sir. I have a question that we are doing many things to give the service in the hotel industry, those who are visiting in the hotels. But what are the things we can motivate to the people, those who are staying inside their home, those who are not visiting any places? That's it, sir. Thank you.
I mean, you meant the in-house guest or the occupant, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think a lot of hotels have activities and different service offering for the in-house guest. Let's say, I mean, on a regular time, you have spa service, you have workout or yoga service, you have a lot of hotels have amusement, like entertainment service, or maybe music. If you have a lounge in your hotel, maybe in the evening you can go there and have maybe some music, or maybe some like hotel. I used to work for Westin has a Run Westin program. So it means they will give you a map where actually around Westin you can actually walk 5 kilometers, and one of the guy who from the concierge will support him to ensure his safety. And also, let's say for a business traveler, you do not have a running gear, so he will give you a New Balance shoes. So it's a Run Westin program. So I mean, a lot of hotel has this kind of program. Like Westin has a program called Westin Kids Club. So if you probably go somewhere with your family members, with your kids, they have some activity for kids. In my hotel, I have some program for my in-house guests, like in every Thursday, they can actually go to our music lounge and they can listen to the music. So something like that we do, but obviously considering the safety and the hygiene situation of the hotel.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we have two more questions. Unfortunately, we have gone out of time, but I will allow the participant to ask the question, but make sure, please, it's a very, very brief question, please. Sakib bin Alam. Sakib bin Alam.
Okay. Yes, sir. Sir, you have mentioned two things in your lecture. You mentioned that the hotels outside Dhaka is not facing that much problem, but in the inside of Dhaka, you are facing problem. And you have also mentioned that this year, World Tourism Day is focusing on the rural tourism. So my question is, don't you think that it is a threat or it will be a challenge that the tourism, World Tourism Society is thinking that rural tourism should be more enhanced, and so it wouldn't be make your occupancy rate more lesser. So rural tourism is something to go against your Dhaka hotels. That's my question actually.
Actually, Sakib, I think no. I mean, which is good because in our country, if we look, I mean, talk about country perspective, in our country, basically the rural development and the rural tourism, it was not. I mean, it was actually it was not revealed honestly. Probably we know 5 to 6 destinations, but this destination should be at least 64 because we have 64 districts. So there's a lot of I mean to discover rather. I mean, once we discover a lot of attraction, I mean, it will be an employment opportunity for a student like you, or maybe the upcoming graduates. But I would say domestic tourism is something that will only attract the leisure tourist around the world to come to Bangladesh, because in Dhaka market, whoever is coming, they're most likely a business traveler. So business traveler are somebody who want to confined in let's say in meetings and close proximities. And why you will see that a lot of hotels are in Gulshan area, it because most of the multinational companies are in Gulshan area, and considering the traffic situation of the country or the city, I mean all the hotels are around this area. So business traveler has a different preference, leisure traveler has a different preference. So we never could attract the leisure traveler around the world to come to our Bangladesh, except 1 or 2 countries. So that's probably some a point that our concerned authority should look at. And we always thought that we do not have those international facilities, nightlife, spa, bar, all those things. That's why people are not coming to our countries. That is one aspect of tourism. But a lot of people are with those mindset. They want to see natural beauties. They want to explore, heritage. So, I mean, it just we have to, I mean, create or tailor your marketing proposal to a specific customer. You have to find out who is your customer, what strength you have, and you market accordingly. I hope that time international traveler will come for leisure in Bangladesh, and I do not see there is no cannibalization between the city market and the domestic market. These are there.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.
So the last question for this session from Hasibul Hussain. Please kindly make it very brief.
Hello, sir. My question is, as we know, in the hotel industry, we have to provide the service to guests that can feel the guests they're at home. My question is, during the COVID-19 pandemic, how will we provide the service that that can feel the guest there at home? Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think the question is relevant, but answer is easy. I mean, why you want to feel at home? You want to feel at home because you think your home is the safest place for you, right? And you have somebody who care for you, let's say your family members. So if you can ensure this too, for an example, if a guest come, if he feels that, okay, this hotel is safe, so he's halfway feeling his home. Number 2 is he has to feel that somebody care about him. So, I mean, we have those somebody. I mean, how we have those somebody? I mean, obviously all hotel will tailor the service in a way that once the guest comes, you will get to know the guest preferences, what guest likes, what guest dislikes. I mean, like your mother knows, like, you know, how much spice you have in your food. So if my chef knows that, okay, Mr. Yusuf is in our hotel and he doesn't like spicy food, and he cook the food accordingly, Mr. Yusuf will feel that, oh, good, this hotel is taking care of me. So you give that assurance that when the hotel looks after his preferences, and give him the assurance that he's safe. These two covers, I think, I mean, he will feel at home.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Hasibo, and to Muhammad Al Amin. It was a really honor and pleasure to have you on board with us, and we wish you good luck, and thank you very much for your nice presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf. I think I would once again thank everybody for having me in your e-Symposium. It was a privilege for me too, and I would, you know, tell everybody that don't lose hope, because this is a situation which is not going to be lasting for years. It's probably 6 more months. If within this time, you just need to prepare yourself better. I mean, nowadays you will see Kaun Banega Crorepati is happening. There's a term that I really liked, what Mr. Amitabh Bachchan said. He said, what he said? He said, setback ki jawab comeback mein do. Something like that. So if you have a setback, you need to prepare yourself so that you can come back stronger. So prepare yourself for the new normal, and I'm sure you guys will do good, very good. Thank you so much.